Hi there, this is Galen. Today I'm going to show embossing. I'm showing both dry and wet embossing, and I'm using an embossing folder by Unity Stamp Company. So that embossing folder is called Vintage Script Embossing Folder, and I'm also using stamps by Unity, Happy Day Poppies, and I'm going to show how I get the impression with the embossing on dark cardstock and how I accent it further to make the script pop up off the page of the dark cardstock. So now for the embossing, I am using my die cutting machine. It's Anna Griffin die cutting machine. I'm going to show you how I position the plates for this, but each machine will have different embossing settings. So now I spritz the pre-cut embossed panel with a little bit of water on both sides. And then I dab that water off of the panel there. Now, you do this so that your cardstock won't crack with the embossing. Now, it may not crack at all, but to prevent it and to get a better impression, in my opinion, is just to add a little water, believe it or not. So you do that and you sandwich the embossing folder with the paper in it between two plates. Now, that is for my electronic die cutting machine. Follow the instructions for embossing using your die cutting machine. Now, when you take this out, you'll see the impression is just beautiful. It's so rich. The texture is just perfect. It's so beautiful. This is great, a great background for almost any occasion. And this is the big, I think it's 6x6 embossing folder. It's wonderful. And so this is what it looks like. It's a little damp. So what I'm going to do is heat set it very lightly, and then I'm going to set it aside to dry while I get some stamping done. So for the flowers, I am using this set here by Unity, and these are layering stamps. So I'm using, on the background layer, I'm using a very dark blue color of ink, and I just stamped that on white cardstock using a MISTI stamping tool, and very gently heat set that. I don't want to burn the ink or anything, so just very lightly give it a mist of heat, and then add white pigment ink. And this one is by Gina K Designs. And then while that's wet, you want to go ahead and add, you don't have to go any further. You can stop with the inking there with the white, but I wanted it extra white. So I used white heat embossing with a white embossing powder and heat set that with a heat tool. Now I fussy cut that off camera so that the flower is separate. And I also stamped and trimmed the sentiment using some dies. So these are rectangle and circle dies by Unity. Now I use a flat foam applicator by Tim Holtz. Now, and I'm using this white pigment ink again. Now I don't want a heavy impression with the ink because I just want to lay that color right on the embossing that's raised. So the flat foam applicator helps with that. It keeps that color primarily right on the top there. That's what I was going for. And sometimes you can dab it ever so lightly with some taps, or you can rub it very, very gently, as long as you can have a handle on keeping that ink right on the top layer there. And you can go over this however you want, however many times that you need to make sure you get the color and the brightness that you want. I didn't want it to be too dark. I just wanted an accent. I wanted to accent the script a little better. And I really like how it turned out. When you get what you want and how you want it there with the color, then you can give it a little bit of heat from the heat tool again to set that, or you can just leave it to dry while you're doing some other things and getting your card ready. So I think it's about what I want here. I did it slowly because I didn't want any of that white to get into the background creases. And again, very lightly use a heat tool on the front and the back. And then I added flat double-sided tape onto the background of this panel. I'm trying again. This is another flat card, all with the exception of the ribbon there. I'm trying to make more flat cards this year. So you'll see as I go lately that I've been doing that. And then you just layer everything. You layer it right on the card base with flat double-sided tape or glue. I think on these flowers I added a very narrow, very thin foam tape. And I did want those to pop a little bit. And there you go. It's beautiful. This one's going to be more for a wedding or celebration occasion. I love it. Thanks so much for watching. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share, and have a wonderful day.